good afternoon. Welcome back to another Creative Corner series episode. Today we are going to be making some egg carton lizards, otherwise known as chameleons, tomato, it's up to you. But before we get into today's episode, we are going to be going over some of our supplies we'll need, so stay tuned for that. You're going to need a dozen egg count container, that's 12 eggs. And with your scissors, you're going to cut along the interior of it, so that way you get these cones out from the carton itself. This is going to be a little bit tricky, but you're going to, like I said, you're going to need roughly about 3 of these containers. And today's craft is inspired by our summer reading theme of Tales and Tales. That's tales as in like animals, and then tales as in stories. You're not going to need this piece here, and then you'll just need to cut out the other side. And then you can save that other piece for later. But once you have the inside of the egg carton done, you're going to go ahead and cut along so that way you get the cones themselves. And you're going to need approximately 14 of these middle pieces here. And once you have them like so, it's going to be a little bit tricky, but you're going to cut off the bottoms so that way they're nice and flat. These are going to be both the body as well as the tail. And when you do this, make sure you get the same containers for all 3 of your egg cartons. Otherwise they're going to look a little bit weird with different egg carton variations. But like I said, you're going to do that for almost all 14. You're going to do them for 13. Set aside the 14th one, and then for 12 of them you're going to go ahead and cut off the top, so that way you have the inner piece of the body as well as the tail. I went ahead and made some already, but I have all my pieces. So like I said, you're going to cut off the bottom piece for most of the body and tail pieces. And then you'll go ahead and cut off the top portion. And all you have to do is just make sure to push it down flat, snip off the top, and then you're good to go. And with all the tail and body pieces, you kind of want them to be the same length. So you'll need 6 of them total to make the body. And I went ahead and used some paint to paint some of the pieces, so that way I have them ready to go. And then I also have my tail pieces. With your 13th one, you're going to go ahead and slice it in half. So it's going to be the tail end of your tail. Then for your 14th piece, you're going to cut it into a unique shape for the head. And for the head piece, I cut off a little bit of the top and bottom and left the sides alone. And then I angled in another cut to make the mouth portion, so that way I have a nice mouth piece for my chameleon. We're going to go ahead and assemble everything together. There is going to be a joint piece, but that is going to be slightly smaller than the rest of the items because you want to connect the main body pieces to the tail pieces. So if you take a look at this, we have 6 of these body pieces here. We have a head piece, and then we have 5 pieces of the tail section. So 4 pieces, and then the very end of the tail. And then we have a connector for the body pieces to the tail itself. Because we are not working with craft glue, we're going to be working with a hot glue gun. We're going to kind of see how our chameleon turns out. So I think the way I worked it is I am going to be gluing the pieces with green and then with the brown pieces. And you always want to make sure that you have another glue stick on hand. And like I said, be extremely careful to not burn yourself. And all you need to do is just go ahead and glue on the interior portions of the body pieces. And I think the way I want to do it is to have a nice curve to my actual lizard. So while I'm doing this, I'm angling the body pieces as I'm gluing them. And if you need to, just get your glue gun and add a bit more glue here and there so it stays in place. And you're just going to go ahead and keep going. One body piece after another. If you need to, you can also reach inside with your fingers and kind of push down on the hot glue from the inside. And my chameleon is coming out pretty uniquely. It's also angling kind of downward as if it was sitting on a branch, which is pretty cool. Now with our connector piece, instead of putting it in line with the other pieces, how we've done so far, we're actually going to flip it around and put it on the opposite side. So you got to kind of squeeze it so that way it fits inside, but not too much so that way it's just hanging however. So again, slight squeeze. And I'm going to add just a touch more glue so that way it stays in place. It's one of the things I hate about hot glue is how it has the little strings coming off of the glue itself. So now that we have most of the body, we're going to work on that tail. The tail pieces, they're going to go in the same direction in which the opposite of direction of your actual body. I did not color these pieces, so we can just attach them anyhow. Any which way. I think they're a little too big, but it's okay. Let's see. I think I put it too far backwards. Yeah. So I am gluing on all four of these flaps here to kind of try to secure the first piece of the tail, which hopefully it stays, and it looks like it's not. Gotta get your hands dirty. I think I'm just gonna keep adding glue until it stays in place. Okay. I am going to give a chance for that glue to solidify a tad bit. So we're actually going to work on the feet for our chameleon here. And with one of your saved pieces that you have for the egg carton, very carefully you cut off one of the sides so that way you can get to the bottom. And then all you have to do is just cut the sides, so that way you have easy access to the bottom piece. And for this piece, you want to make sure that the way you're doing it is nice, aligned, even, straightforward. And if you happen to do mess up, you still have two more tops to work with. Looks a little wonky. Push all the scraps off to the side. Now all you need to do is fold this in half, fold it in half again, so that way you make approximately 4 equal parts. And then all you need to do is with your scissors, very carefully cut out your feet bits. And this actually looks a little too big, so I'm gonna no, it still looks too big. Well, that's a little better. And because we are waiting for our glue to dry, we can also work on our tongue here too as well. So with your roll, you can cut however long you want the tongue to, or wide you want the tongue to be. And then you're going to be somewhat gentle. And once you have the shape you want, most I'm going to go ahead and do a nice split tongue, so that way it has a nice fork in its tongue. Okay, now that the glue has mostly dried, we're going to go ahead and continue adding the rest of our tail pieces. So keeping that tail shape. My chameleon's a little bit wonky because it starts going down at an angle and then it just zips out with its tail. I don't know if you can tell that on camera. It's a little funny, everyone. But once you have that, I'm gonna go ahead and measure out how long I want my feet to be. Use my scissors to cut off the excess amount. And if you want to go back in with some paint and paint the bottoms, you can go ahead and do that. But I'm going to bend the acorn so that way the legs stick out a little bit. And I am going to cut out the back legs a little bit longer than the front legs. So now that I have my legs attached, if you want, you can actually use the paper towel roll to cut out a section of the eye. And if you want to have bulging eyes, all you have to do is get the roll itself and just twist, twist, twist. It's not the greatest example, because it's a little difficult to do. But if you look at chameleons, their eyes bulge out, so all you have to do is just get a piece of the paper, the toilet paper tube, and then start coiling it, and then all you have to do is glue down the piece and then glue it onto your chameleon. But I think it would be a little bit funnier to actually put googly eyes on. And it's going to be funny because these ones, this googly eye actually has eyelashes. And you want to make sure that they look somewhat decent as far as spacing. And that looks I'm sorry everyone, it's just funny. That looks decent enough. And then all you have to do with your tongue is put some glue down on the base. Put it inside the mouth. And if you wanted to, you can cut it even shorter. It's entirely up to you how you want your tongue to be. But I think I will, if it'll stay. Went ahead and cut the tongue a little bit shorter. But there you have it. You have an egg carton lizard. We worked on the body pieces, the tail pieces, the tongue itself. We glued some googly eyes on, and we worked on the feet too as well. Mine's a little bit wonky, but it just depends on the egg carton design that you're currently working with. Some shapes are going to be difficult to work with than others. This is just from one of the cartons. The 3 other cartons that I went and made this one with, they all looked relatively the same, so that's why it looks kind of uniform. But I encourage you to go get some egg cartons, figure out which ones work best, and then you can always post it to our social media if you would like to. And at the same time, feel free to decorate your lizard however you want to. Make it green, make it red, multicolor, it's entirely up to you. Thank you for joining me on today's Creative Corner. Our inspiration came from this summer's summer reading theme of Tales and Tales. Tales like in animal tales and tales as in stories. We worked on some egg carton lizards, or chameleons. So this is what we made. You feel free to color it, decorate it, paint it whatever color you would like to. Add googly eyes like I did or not. It's up to you how you want to do this. We do have supply kits available for anyone that is interested. All you have to do is go to our website, ofpl.online, scroll down the page a little bit and request one of the supply kits. We have a variety of other things that are going on for the rest of the month with Creative Corner, with Crafty Kids. So please be sure to subscribe to our social media so that way you are able to stay up to date on what we're doing. Next week we will be working on some garden fairy houses, so be on the lookout for that. With that, my name is Joshua. Thank you for joining me this afternoon, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.